The Cleveland Browns pick up a great pick in the third round. First, we want to look at what they did in the second round. Then we'll get to that in the third round. If you're new to the channel, we're Detroit Lions fans, but we have this channel talking about teams that generally kind of get overlooked by the national media. So Cleveland Browns are one of those. So draft coverage, love to see what the Browns are doing, especially because they didn't have a first round pick. And you kind of want to see, man, can they make the most of their second and third round picks? And I'm here to tell you they got the steal of the third round, and I'll prove it to you in this video. Michael Hall Jr. is the second best pass rushing defensive tackle in the class, only to Newton. I agree with that, and I agree with this. Jim Schwartz loves himself a gap shooter. Yes, when he was with the Lions, they were really successful with really good defensive tackles, and Ndamukong Suh, Nick Fairley, and Jim Schwartz loves more than any defensive coordinator to rush for. And so he wants a pass rushing defensive tackle. That's really important to him. So I love that pick. We know Michael Hall Jr. has some shortcomings, but at the same time, he's got a high ceiling. And at defensive tackle, it's hard to find. Here's the third round pick that I love. It's Zack Zinter. So up here in Michigan, Michigan fan. Zack Zinter was injured, and therefore draft stock fell. The Lions have been pouncing on those types of guys for the last couple of years. Guys that get injured, that are young, will heal, that just kind of get pushed. It's a competitive advantage because he would have gone second round, no question. That interior offensive line on the Michigan Wolverines, the team that was the best offensive line for the last 3 years, 3 years. And he was there for all of it. And he was the guard. He did play a little center. So to get him in the third round is outstanding. Now the Browns already have Joel Benito and Wyatt's contract and Wyatt, but they're just don't know what that really looks like. And if you are a team that is going to run the ball, you have to have a good interior offensive line. Everybody knows that, but this was such a smart move because Zack Zinter was definitely getting overlooked. 6'5", 6'6", 6'5" and a half, 300 pounds. In 2023, he started 12 games at right guard, but missed the final 3 games to a broken leg. Overall, he played 45 games with 42 starts, all while Michigan went on and lost 2 games in 3 years. He has lost 2 games in 3 years as a starter. Michigan won best offensive line 2 out of those 3 years, I believe. The third year, they were like the third best offensive line. He was the cornerstone of that. And so to get this guy is really, really big. His RAS score doesn't show much because he didn't measure a lot of stuff. That's fine. Zinter enters the league with NFL size, toughness, and technique. This is why he is a steal. This is like a turnkey house that you buy. It's worth a lot more because there's nothing you have to do. Of course, there's something, right? It's the NFL versus college. To say that he's just going to jump in and have nothing to work on, that's not true. But he was in a Jim Harbaugh offensive line run program, professional program that was his body's right, his technique is right, his toughness, his physicality. If you're going to draft an offensive lineman, it's from the Michigan team from the last couple of years. He is an average athlete in short spaces. I disagree with that. We'll get back to that in a second, but is very capable of climbing to the second level with good angles and making hits on short poles. He can be stood up and neutralized by 2 gapping plungers, but is rarely beaten soundly. Rarely, if ever, beaten, just straight up beaten. His pass protection will be average by NFL standards. I disagree with that. Active rushers will have more issues than you might like. Zinter's draft stock might be hindered by recovery from his injuries, but that tape suggests he's a starter on the next level. You guys got a starting interior offensive line in the third round. It's hard to find a starter on the offensive line late in the draft. Usually you're looking to get a depth piece there that can develop into something, but to get an interior offensive lineman at that level, awesome. Zinter is a starting caliber offensive lineman in the NFL. He's a competent, mature player with size, football intelligence, competitiveness. He is a starting level guy that you get in the third round that should absolutely be a first or second round pick, but because of the injury, you're able to pick him up and add to a strength of your team. In the AFC North, you have to be able to run the ball and stop the run. This is going to allow them to run the ball, take pressure off of Deshaun Watson, the whole thing that we all know, but this is really important. And I just love that the Cleveland Browns were able to pull this off. So let me know your thoughts in the comments on this one. The draft's still going on and more things to come. And we'll see all of you on the next one.